You get married. It's beautiful. For my people, it's not just a wedding, it's a season. There's the agsht, the sofre, the dancing, the aunties crying, the uncles arguing. It's a whole production. You're the star of the show. You feel seen. You're not just Amir or Sarah anymore. You're the groom, the bride. A new identity, wrapped in silk and fed baklava. Then you come home. You take off the suit, she takes off the dress. And slowly a different script arrives. It's not delivered by a wedding planner. It's delivered in a lifetime of glances, comments, and questions. From your mom, is she taking good care of you? The house is clean. From her dad, is he providing? A good husband is a stable husband. You look in the mirror one morning and you don't see Amir, the musician who loves old vinyl records. You see the husband, a job title, with a job description written by a committee of your ancestors. And the crazy thing is, you start auditioning for the part. You forget you ever had an audition for the role of yourself. My wife asked me this question a few months ago. We were just sitting there and she said, "Honey, what do you actually like to do for fun?" Just like that. And my mind, blank. Total white screen. The cursor is just blinking. Fun? My fun for the last 2 years was Project Marriage. My hobby was planning a wedding that would make both families happy. My hobby was saving for a down payment. My hobby was stress. Now she's asking about hobbies. I panicked. I said, "I like watching the game." She just looked at me. "You watch 3 minutes, check your phone and fall asleep. That's not a hobby. That's a nap with commercials." She's right. And that's the silent fade. It's not dramatic. It's the slow shelving of your own interests because they don't seem to fit the new shared furniture of your life. Your guitar gets a little dusty because it's too loud. You stop calling your old friend for that weekly coffee because we have family dinner on Sundays. Your sketchbook stays closed. Your running shoes stay clean. And one day you realize your wife's hobby has become reminding you that you have no hobbies. And you're both laughing, but it's a laugh that tastes a little bit like, "Oh, wait, where'd he go?" This is the trick, right? In so many cultures, love is framed as a merger, two companies becoming one. But in a merger, departments get eliminated, people get laid off. You cannot let the department of your weird, specific joy be the first one on the chopping block. That person you fell in love with, the one who could talk for an hour about the history of sneakers, or who knew every bird call, or who dragged you to that terrible, beautiful art house film, that person is the spark. The spouse is just the container. If you let the spark go out, you're just two people maintaining a very nice empty container. So you have to be a little rebellious. You have to protect your me with the same fierceness you protect your we. It's not selfish. It's the opposite of selfish. It's stewardship. You are responsibly maintaining the very asset your partner invested in. It means you have to go play in that terrible Sunday soccer league with your friends and come home smelling like grass and failure. She has to go to her book club and argue about fictional people's life choices for 2 hours. You have to take that woodworking class you've been eyeing. She has to revive her yoga practice, not just for fitness, but for the quiet in her own head that has nothing to do with grocery lists or your mother's advice on laundry. And when you come back from these things, you bring a breeze into the house. You bring a new story. You bring energy you generated yourself, instead of energy you're draining from the shared account. You look like you again, not the tired, responsible version, but the alive one. And when you see her the same way, lit up from within by something that is purely hers, you don't just see your wife. You see her. You fall in love again with the specific, wonderful human who chose you, not just the role she's playing next to you. Love shouldn't be a cage where your old self is retired. It should be the place where your best self feels safe to come out and play. It's the art of building a we that's big enough and brave enough to hold two thriving, occasionally ridiculous, completely individual me's. That's the real work, not the merging, but the building of a bigger house. All right, let's get into it. The wedding is over. The photos are beautiful. You think the hard part is done. But no, now you enter phase 2, the committee. Your marriage now has a board of directors, and they all have opinions. They are your parents, your in-laws, your aunties, the neighbor who knew you when you were this tall, and they are all experts. In my culture, and I think in so many, marriage isn't just between two people. It's a merger of two families, two histories, two sets of the way things have always been done. And suddenly, you're the CEO of this new tiny startup, but you have 40 venture capitalists who all funded you, and they all want to say in your quarterly reports, My mom, God love her, she calls. She doesn't say hello. She says, Max, Janum, my soul, is she making you the fesenjan? I gave her my recipe, the good one with the extra walnut, not the one I give to strangers. Ma, she's a lawyer. She just won a case. She filed a motion. Her brain is busy. Yes, but is your stomach happy? A happy stomach is a happy marriage. So now my wife's legal acumen is being measured in pomegranate paste. And it goes both ways. Her mom calls her. Azizam, my love, does he help you? Does he appreciate you? Tell him the garbage doesn't take itself out. A real man sees a full bin. So now my worth as a husband is tied to my timely recognition of waste management. This is the invisible third person in your marriage. What will people say? This ghost, this pressure. It's in the questions at every family party. So when is the baby coming? It's in the judgmental glance if my wife's career means we're too busy for weekly family dinner. It's in the whispered, he lets her travel for work? As if I'm her warden, not her partner. It can feel heavy. It can feel like you're constantly performing your marriage for a review board you never applied to. So here is the secret weapon. You have to become co-conspirators. You and your spouse against the gentle, loving, completely maddening pressure of the past. And the best way to do that, you turn it all into your own private comedy channel. You start to collect the lines. You create a shared glossary. Happy stomach, happy marriage becomes your code when one of you is stressed about work. You just say it deadpan and you be. Oth crack up. When my mom says a real Persian wife, my wife and I lock eyes. That's our signal. We've heard this one. We know the script. We are not actors in that play anymore. We're the audience, whispering commentary to each other. This is how you build your own culture. It's not about rejecting the old one. That food, that music, that warmth is your foundation. It's about building your own floor on top of it. You blend. Maybe you do the big, loud Persian New Year dinner with the family, but for your actual New Year's Eve, it's just you two, with silly hats and a terrible movie. You take the tradition of Friday night family dinner, but you make it your own. Maybe it's takeout and board games, or cooking a weird fusion recipe together that would make both grandmothers faint. You make new rituals that belong only to you, the way you always leave a stupid note for each other on Monday mornings. The terrible dance you do when you finally fix something in the house. The specific weird snack you always share after a hard day. This is the folklore of your nation of two. The goal isn't to win an argument with the past. You can't win. The goal is to develop such a strong, funny, joyful dialect between the two of you that the outside noise just becomes background music. Sometimes annoying elevator music, but music you can tune out. When you learn to laugh at it together, you drain it of its power. The pressure to conform becomes material for your private stand-up show. You're not being disrespectful. You're surviving. You're building a fortress of us where the bricks are inside jokes and the mortar is shared glances across a crowded room. Because at the end of the day, they will talk. They will always talk. So you might as well give them something to talk about that makes you laugh. Build a marriage so uniquely yours, so specific to the two weird, wonderful people in it, that the old rule book simply doesn't apply. Write your own. Chapter 1, remember that time your mom thought my career was less important than my stew? Let's order sushi. Here's the truth. They don't put on the wedding program. You will fight. You will have a passionate, deeply felt, utterly logical argument about a sponge, a light switch left on, the correct way to load a dishwasher, which is apparently a philosophical debate with life or death stakes. The honeymoon phase ends the first time one of you says in a tone usually reserved for declaring war, you left the milk out again. And suddenly you're not soulmates, you're roommates, angry, disappointed roommates who know each other's weaknesses way too well. In my house, our fights are bilingual. They start in English, a calm, mature discussion. Honey, I noticed the dishes from last night are still in the sink. I'm just wondering what the plan is for that. Then it switches. Because the emotions, the real heat that comes in the mother tongue. What do you mean, what's the plan? The plan is you see dishes, you wash dishes. Is there another plan? The let them grow a garden plan? The wait for a magical dish fairy plan? I cooked, my plan was done, and I fire back. I was going to do them. I have a system. I do them all at once at the end of the day. It's efficient. Efficient is to wash a plate when it is dirty, not when it has made friends with the other plates. This is not a party for the dishes. This is the comedy of conflict. It's absurd. You're two fully grown adults capable of love and complex thought, and you are literally arguing about the timeline of soap and water. But underneath the sponge-based drama, something real is happening. It's never about the dishes. The dishes are just the subtitles. The real movie playing is about feeling unseen, or carrying an uneven load, or stress from work, leaking out onto the nearest available target, which is, unfortunately, the person you love most, because they're the only one safe enough to catch it. So here's first tool. You have to listen to the movie, not just read the subtitles. When she's furious about the milk, she might really be saying, I feel like I'm the only one noticing what needs to be done in this shared life of ours. When he's defensive about the laundry, he might be saying, I feel like nothing I do is ever the right way, your way. If you just fight the subtitles, you'll never win. Because you'll fix the dishes, and tomorrow it'll be the towels. You have to address the real script. This is where the second tool comes in, humor as a ceasefire. Not sarcasm, not mocking, but the ability to step outside the absurdity and point at it together. Sometimes, in the middle of a heated debate about garbage bag brands, one of us will just do an impression of the other. I'll mimic her furious hands-on-hip stance. She'll do my calm, fake, reasonable voice, and we'll both start laughing. The tension pops like a balloon. Humor is the great de-escalator. It's a white flag that says, this is ridiculous, and I love you more than I care about being right about recycling. Because that's the third most important tool. Remember the team. You are not you versus them. You are team us versus the problem. The problem might be dirty dishes or poor communication or outside stress, but your spouse is not the enemy. They are your teammate who is currently fumbling the ball. Your job isn't to tackle them. It's to help them recover the fumble so you can win the game together. This is the hardest part. In the heat of the moment, your lizard brain wants to win, to be right, to prove your point so beautifully that they have no choice but to fall to their knees and say, your logic is flawless. Your way with the sponge is supreme. But that's a hollow victory. Because you've just made your teammate feel small. You've scored a point for your own ego and lost ground for your relationship. Fighting fair means lowering your weapons when everything in you wants to raise them. It means taking a breath and saying, okay, tell me why this matters so much to you, and then actually listening, not just reloading your argument while they talk. It means, in the middle of a disagreement, being able to say, wait, I love you. This feels bad. Let's try again. The goal is understanding, not victory. You're building a bridge, not keeping score. Because every fair fight, every conflict you navigate with respect doesn't weaken your marriage. It fortifies it. It teaches you how to weather the bigger storms, the real losses, the hard times, because you built muscles of patience and communication, arguing over things as silly as which way the toilet paper roll goes. And sometimes, after the fight is over, after the peace treaty is signed and you're both a little tired, that's when you find a new layer of closeness. The air is clear. You remembered you're on the same side, and you make a new secret rule for Team Us. Maybe the rule is whoever cooks doesn't clean, or we get one pass on a chore per week, no questions asked. You've negotiated, you've built a new law in your nation of two, and you do it while eating ice cream straight from the carton, laughing about how you both just lost 10 years of your life over a discussion about grocery lists. That's the comedy, that's the connection, that's the secret, messy, beautiful work of not just sharing a life, but building one ridiculous resolved argument at a time. The great magic trick of marriage, the one nobody warns you about, is the slow, silent transformation of your partner from a source of heart-pounding excitement into a piece of living, breathing furniture. A very beloved piece of furniture, of course, the most comfortable couch in the world. But still, you know they're there. You rely on their presence. You'd be devastated if they were gone. But do you see them anymore, or have they just become part of the landscape of your life? This is where romance goes to die. Not in a blaze of betrayal or a screaming match, but in the quiet, comfortable grave of routine. You know the script. You come home. You say, how was your day? You get a 3-word answer. You talk about the logistics of tomorrow. Who's driving? What's for dinner? Did you call the plumber? You eat. You watch something on a screen. You go to bed. You might brush hands reaching for the toothpaste. It's not bad. It's peaceful. It's fine, but fine is the enemy of alive. We joke about it. We have to. My bit about date night? It's too real. Our date night is so romantic. We get takeout. We sit on the same couch. We eat in silence, staring at our own phones. But sometimes our pinkies touch on the cushion, and we're holding hands, metaphorically, in our hearts. The audience laughs because they know. The grand gesture has been replaced by the microscopic one. The bouquet of roses is now remembering to pick up her favorite yogurt at the store. But here's what I've learned. The magic isn't gone. It's just buried. Under the laundry, the to-do lists, the mental load of running a shared life. And you have to be an archaeologist of your own relationship. You have to dig for it. This is the daily choice, the active verb. Love isn't a feeling you wait around to feel, like waiting for a sunny day. It's a thing you do. You manufacture the weather. You become the event plan. For a party of two, it starts with the smallest rebellion against the routine, the micro gesture that says, I see you, separate from all the jobs you do for us. It's pausing the show you're both half watching and saying, no, tell me the rest of that story about your coworker. What happened next? It's texting her in the middle of the day with no agenda, just a memory. Remember that awful hotel in Rome with the weird shower? I'd go back there with you tomorrow. It's buying the stupid, overpriced pastry she likes and leaving it on the counter with a post-it that just says, for you, you have to institutionalize curiosity. That's the weekly check-in, not a board meeting, not let's discuss our relationship. That sounds terrifying. It's more like over coffee on a Sunday morning asking one stupid, real question. What's a dream you've been too embarrassed to say out loud? What's something you're secretly proud of this week? If we could get on a plane tomorrow, where would you want to go? You have to re-interview each other. The person you married is changing, growing, accumulating new dreams and fears. Don't let your knowledge of them fossilize into a version from 5 years ago. And then you have to create the space where the magic can actually live. That means unplug time. The phone's in a drawer, the laptop closed, for 20 minutes, for an hour. It's excruciating at first. You'll itch. You'll think of a million things you need to Google. But in that silence, in that forced presence, something happens. You start talking, or not talking. You remember what it's like to just be together without a digital third wheel. You might even look into each other's eyes, and it will feel weird, and then it will feel like a superpower. The grand dates are great, sure, the reservations, the dressing up, but they're like fireworks, spectacular, brief, and over. What you need more are candles, small, steady, warm lights you can keep burning, the 5-minute dance in the kitchen while something burns on the stove, the intentional detour on the drive home to finish a conversation, the shared ice cream cone on a Tuesday for no reason. You are fighting the gravitational pull of domestic entropy. Everything in a shared life wants to settle into routine, into efficiency, into a benign and functional partnership. You have to actively, clumsily choose the inefficiency of romance. You have to waste time together. You have to prioritize connection over productivity because that person on the other side of the couch, scrolling through their phone, they're not just your CO manager, your CO parent, your roommate with benefits. They are the walking, talking archive of your best memories and your wildest dreams. They are the stranger you chose who chose you back. And that choice isn't made once at an altar. It's made every single day you decide to look up from your own woe. RLD and reach across the space between you, whether that space is a crowded room or just the 12 inches of couch cushion, and pull them back into yours. You keep dating your spouse to remember that they are and always will be the most fascinating mystery in your life. And the joy is in never fully solving it, but in always, always wanting to turn the next page together, even if you're just turning it while sharing takeout containers in a comfortable silence that you have consciously, lovingly chosen to create. So let's look at the map we've drawn, the territory of a real marriage after the wedding music fades. It's not the flat, perfect paradise of the brochure. It has hills. Those are the arguments over nonsense. It has valleys. Those are the quiet, tired evenings. but it also has secret, beautiful clearings you only find together. Those are the inside jokes that no one else gets. The look across a crowded room that says everything. The peace of a silent car ride where you're both just happy to be next to each other. We talked about guarding your own soul, your weird hobbies, your old friends, your quiet dreams. Because a love that asks you to disappear is a cage, not a home. We talked about the noise of the world, the shoulds and the traditions and the expectations, and how you have to build a soundproof room for just the two of you, where the only culture that matters is the one you're writing together, one stupid ritual at a time. We talked about the fights, the bilingual, dramatic, ridiculous fights about sponges and semantics, and how the goal is never to win, but to understand, to remember you're on the same team, even when you're both fumbling the play. And we talked about the most dangerous force of all, routine. The slow dust that settles on everything, and how you have to be the archaeologist, always digging for the magic you buried together, choosing the verb of love over just waiting for the noun of the feeling. This is the work, not the work of merging into one blurred neutral being. That's a lie they sell you. Two halves making a whole? That implies you were incomplete to begin with. Broken, looking for your missing piece. That's a lot of pressure to put on another human, to be the piece that fixes you. The truer, harder, more beautiful thing is this: you are already a whole person, so are they. Flawed, complicated, messy, complete, and marriage is the audacieux project of two complete universes deciding to build a shared space station in the orbit between them. A new place that didn't exist before, a place with its own gravity, its own atmosphere, its own rules. You visit each other's planets, you bring back treasures, but you always come back to the station you built together. That's the we. It's not an erasure, it's a creation. I'll leave you with a thought I had backstage once after a show. It's less of a joke and more of just the truth. I was thinking about all the bits, all the laughs about mothers and dishes and snoring, and it hit me. People ask me, is marriage hard? And yeah, it is. But it's hard like a garden is hard. You don't just get the flowers. You don't just plant a seed once and walk away expecting a rose bush. You have to water it even when you're tired. You have to pull the weeds of resentment before they take over. You have to prune the dead branches of old grudges. You have to shield it from the harsh frost of outside judgment. Some days it's just mud and work, but then you get the flowers. And the flowers aren't just the big anniversaries or the vacations. The flowers are Tuesday. The flowers are coming home and smelling the dinner they decided to make just because. The flowers are seeing them laugh with their friends. The flowers are the silent agreement that passes between you in a stressful moment that says, "We got this." The flowers are the inside joke that makes you snort laugh in a quiet place. The flowers are the trust that's been built, brick by brick, through every fair fight and every forgiven mistake. That garden, that space station, that shared built thing, it's alive. And like anything alive, it doesn't stay the same. It either grows or it shrinks. There is no standing still. A shrinking love is one where you stop visiting each other's planets, where you let the weeds grow, where you stop digging for magic and just accept the dust. A growing love is the conscious, daily, sometimes clumsy choice to do the opposite, to water, to visit, to dig, to build another room on the space station. It's choosing again and again to look at this whole complicated, fascinating person you've pledged your life to, and instead of seeing the familiar furniture, to see the mystery. To see the partner in the greatest adventure you'll ever have, the adventure of building a life that only the two of you could build. You started as two separate, complete stories. The most beautiful thing you can do is pick up a pen together and start writing a brand new one in the blank pages between you. A story that's funnier, richer, deeper, and more uniquely yours than anything you could have authored alone. That's the goal. That's the work. That's the joy.